Good evening. Henry here. Actually, my friends call me Harry. Harry and Rollo here for you, and like to welcome you here this evening to an exciting time. Welcome to Winterfest, sponsored by Discover Doylestown. We have an exciting and interesting season this year. Because of COVID, we're going to be doing a few things a little differently. But look out for every Tuesday and Thursday evening, as we're going to have special guests read stories to you online. And on Wednesdays, we're going to have the good old jolly Saint Nick, well, get those letters written up, because he's going to read your letters online from you for everybody else to hear. So please, join us with this exciting time of year. Coming out, discovering Doylestown, having a wonderful time. And remember, if you go shopping, keep an eye out for our jolly friend Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman. But when you're out and you're shopping, don't forget to wear your mask.
She has 3 presents. He grabbed the nutcracker from Marie and tossed him in the air.
All of the other reindeer. Olive was too shy to sing.
I wonder what will happen. The elves arrived to help.
You never go
everyone
out,
make
and this is such a fine opportunity. I had great trouble to get it. Everyone wants to go. It is very
Santa
select.
circled once above us and then disappeared into the cold, dark, polar
On
sky.
Christmas Eve, we get out the ornaments. Some were Grandpa's when he was a little boy.
This is not a house. Well, I know. It's a castle. Fontaine Castle.
on. Here arose such a clatter. I sprung from the bed to see what was the matter.
Good evening. This evening I'm going to read How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one knows quite the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, Grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers, nervously drumming, I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early, they'd rush for their toys. And then, oh the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise, 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 noise. Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, The more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat. He made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat, and he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like St. Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, get out! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Whos were all dreaming, sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums. And he stuffed them in bags, and the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up that tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why? But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie and he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied, there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here. And his fib fooled the child, then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed that tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, he was grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up, I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two, then the Who's down in Whoville will cry all boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch with his Grinch feet, ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
Drop off your letters to Santa at Discover Doylestown's office, Class-Harlan Real Estate, or at the Doylestown Bookshop. Santa is going to read your letters live from the North Pole each Wednesday on Discover Doylestown's Facebook.
Now I'm going to read you another story, and this one is a lot of fun and a little bit silly. It's called Fancy Nancy, Splendiferous Christmas. This is written by Jane O'Connor. I think you'll find it a lot of fun. It'll make you giggle. Our house never looks fancy, except, ta-da, at Christmas time. Welcome Santa sign on the front door. I love Christmas so much. It is important to find a tree with a wonderful aroma. That's a fancy word for smell. I think bigger is always better when looking for a Christmas tree. But my dad says we must compromise. That means we end up with the tree that my mom wants. On Christmas Eve, we get out the ornaments. Some were Grandpa's when he was a little boy. These are called heirlooms, my mom says. That's a fancy word for things that are old and valuable. Here is our tree topper. Isn't it just gorgeous? I bought it last summer with all my birthday money. It's never too early to prepare for Christmas. We always wait for Grandpa to decorate the tree. He'll be here very soon. While we wait, we bake Christmas cookies. My sister helps with the sprinkles. Delectable. Now that's a fancy word for yummy. Guess which one I decorated? I finished wrapping all the presents. This quilt is for Maribel. Put lace on anything and voila, it's fancy. I also made a tiny Christmas card for her. Next we go caroling, which is a fancy word for singing Christmas songs. Deck the halls. Back at home, still no Grandpa. So we plead with our parents. Pleading is like begging, only fancier. Please, 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 can we just put up the tree topper now? Ooh la la, everything it says in the box is true. It spins, it flashes on and off, and it changes color. My dad says that Grandpa called. He'll be here any minute. We wait and wait and wait some more. How can a minute possibly take so long? Frenchie is not as patient as I am. So I unwrap one of her presents, a tug toy. Frenchie is strong, but I am stronger. I pull really hard. Crash, bang. Oops, the tree sways. Oh no, look out below. The tree topper smashes to pieces. I am just devastated. which is upset only a zillion times worse. Just then, Grandpa arrives, and I have to tell him what happened. Tears are flowing down her cheeks. Poor Fancy Nancy. When life gives you cracked eggs, make eggnog, he says. What does that mean, I ask. It means you improvise. That's a fancy word for using whatever's around the house to make something. We make a new tree topper with glitter and pom-poms and ribbons. Grandpa says one day you will have your own family and you will tell them how we made this together. Oh, it's going to be an heirloom, I explained to my sister. Decorating the tree is so much fun. There's no such thing as too much tinsel, I keep telling everyone. Only one word describes how magnificent and joyous and sparkly Christmas morning is. Can you guess what that word is? It is splendiferous. The end.
So let me read this wonderful letter. And this letter came from Luca and Leo. This one, I remember. This is from Emily, and she's 8 years old. This year, I've been really nice. Well, you've been on the nice list for a long time, Emily. And this looks like it came from Victoria, and Victoria's only 4 years old. My goodness, aren't these drawings so nice? Look how nice that is. I would like a piano and a microphone. Wow. Merry Christmas to you. I hope that you'll come visit with me next Wednesday night when we're broadcasting again from Discover Doylestown. And don't forget to keep putting those letters in the mailboxes. And the mailboxes are the Class-Harlan Real Estate office at the Doylestown bookstore in the children's section. And you can drop them off here at the Discover Doylestown office right here at Pine and State Street. So have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to coming to visit with you in your home, seeing that beautiful Christmas tree, putting some goodies in your stocking, and making your Christmas merry and as bright as Santa can make it.
The Snowman by Raymond Briggs. Hooray! It is snowing! James got dressed. He ran outside. He makes a pile of snow. He makes it bigger and bigger. He puts a big snowball on top. He adds a scarf and a hat. He adds an orange for a nose. He has coal for eyes and buttons. There, what a fine snowman. It is nighttime. James sneaks downstairs. What does he see? The snowman is moving. James invites him in. The snowman has never been inside a house. Hello, cat. Hello, lamp. Hello, paper towels. The snowman takes James's hand. They go up, up, up into the air. They are flying. Oh, what a wonderful night. It is morning. James jumps out of bed. He runs downstairs. He runs into the kitchen. He runs outside. Oh, but the snowman has gone. The end.